Hi guys, today I'm here to do my wrap up for the first 3 months of the year, the winter months into spring, and that is January, February, March, of course, you knew that. So hoping it's going to be a little bit quicker because a few of the films that I will mention briefly here today I've already done full reviews for, so I shall link those reviews, or perhaps if they're in vlogs like a particular one that I've got in mind, I shall link the vlog for it as well, so you can check that out if you're interested in hearing my more in-depth thoughts on that. So starting with January, the first film I saw was The Light Between Oceans, which I gave a 4 stars. So for this one I did a book versus movie review for this, which again, as I mentioned before, I shall link in the cards for you. So I'll go in so much more depth about sort of like the differences I noticed between the book and the movie, what I preferred, what I thought were handled better between the two mediums and such like that. Moving on, I checked out Dodaro, which I gave a 5 stars. I can't believe I've never seen this film before, but I found it super fantastic. It's one of those sort of like OG Disney films. I did watch it in halves with quite some time apart, but honestly it was all I was craving and I didn't feel lost at all when I went back to watching the second half of it. Don't know why I did that. I think maybe perhaps I started it late in the night, and I'm much more of a day bird than a night owl, so I think I just fell asleep or something and I continued watching it, you know, at another point in time. I did think the ending was a little bit savage for the baddie though, and I did think a few scenes were a little bit too grown up or a bit too implied for such a young audience. Straight after, I asked my partner if there was ever a sequel for this, because it's funny that I didn't hear anything else. Usually they pump out sequels, don't they, Disney, like there's no tomorrow. And funny enough, I think I saw something that said there seems to be something coming out this year, 20 years later to be precise. Yeah, realising I didn't give you guys a synopsis of that, it's basically 2 guys are on a quest sort of thing, an adventure to find the lost city, the lost magical city of Dodaro. So yeah, 5 stars, really enjoyed that one. Then when the cinemas were still open, I saw a few new releases. I saw Jumanji The Next Level, which I gave a 3 stars. I really don't have too much to say about this. I feel like it's got to the point where I was kind of fearing this would happen, that it's just okay. It was entertaining, but the jokes honestly didn't hit me like the first sort of remake did. Yeah, I feel like this can get pretty old pretty fast. It's really got nothing on the original, in my opinion. Taking it into February now, I went again and I saw Dr. Dolittle, which gave it 3.5 stars. This is one of those films that have been done so many times, but with Robert Downey Jr. I couldn't not go and see it. I really like him as an actor. I love him as Iron Man. Like, I think he's a really cool actor. I was actually shocked by the end to see all the other actors that, you know, voice act in this, because I didn't recognise any of them at all, as in like I didn't recognise their voices. But obviously I recognised the actors when their names came up and I was like, oh, hold on a minute, yeah, if I cast my mind back and have their face in mind, it is them, you know what I mean? Like, I was kind of shocked to see how many people that I recognised as actors were in it. The voice that Robert Downey Jr. used for Dr. Dolittle was a little bit odd. It kind of sounded like it was supposed to be Welsh, but it was just so off. There was just something about it that didn't quite mesh, and it, every now and then, to be honest, especially in the beginning, it kept pulling me out of the story because it's just a bit bizarre. And there is one thing, he's like very adamant of like not using animals and stuff, but I just found it a little bit contradicting just in the storyline, because he still used animals, like he dressed them, for example, like dressed them up. And also one thing that I did enjoy was the very kind of nostalgic 64 Zoo Lane feel. I don't know if I was the only one that felt that, but with this giraffe, I vividly had this image of watching 64 Zoo Lane and the giraffe come into the window and taking, the girl's name's Lucy, taking her down into their little zoo next door. So yeah, that was a nice feeling. I did like it. I probably wouldn't watch it again, or if I was to watch it again, it probably just would be in the background, like on telly or something, whilst I'm doing other things, chilling, reading, mucking about around the flat. After that I watched Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which I gave a 3 stars, and I've done a complete reading vlog and studio tour vlog compiled together for this, and at the end I give you my thoughts of the film, because I watched it after reading the book. So if you're interested in my thoughts on that and you want to see what I thought about reading the book for the first time and going to the studios for the first time, you're more than welcome to check that video out. Again, that is in the cards linked for you. Then I saw Descendants 3, finally, Disney Descendants. So the first movie in this was like Descendants, well, they're based on the books, like by Miranda de la Cruz, the Isle of the Lost books, and it's about all the villains have been like all the Disney villains have been shipped off to this like separate coast, separate island, and so all the good characters and creatures and stuff live in Auradon, which is like this happy magical place. But the villains obviously have had kids and they want to change. So this is sort of like the premise for the beginning of the first film, but it kind of carries on like a general tone, a general theme throughout the films. And yeah, so this one, it seems more like trying to get sort of salvation for the other kids on the island that want a change of life, that want to do good and want to be out of the kind of stigma of being a villain's kid and being completely evil, because not everybody's completely evil. Well, everybody's good and bad, do you know what I mean? So that's sort of the main focus on it, I would say. I gave this one a 4 stars. I wanted to see this for so long, pretty much as soon as it was released, but I couldn't bring myself to, mainly after the passing of Cameron. He is a very young actor, unfortunately passed away I believe last year. I think he passed away in his sleep. They'd finished making the film, but they'd done a beautiful like tribute to him, I think at the beginning, yeah, and it was very emotional. So I like him as an actor, and I was obviously a little bit more subdued in watching it because I didn't know how I was going to feel. Obviously it's nothing in comparison to how his friends and family and, you know, associates feel and stuff. But anyway, the CGI, I'm gonna say, I wish was better. I loved the hair and the outfit upgrades that we had, especially of Sleeping Beauty's princess daughter Audrey. She had a complete badass makeover and I was absolutely living for it. She takes her obsession of having the throne and having I can't remember what the Beast, Beauty and the Beast's son is, having him as her husband. She takes it even further, and I would say that is also one of the driving plots of this. The songs are, as usual, very infectious, very Moorish, very like makes you want to dance and sing even if you don't know the lyrics yet. I kind of hope there will be more of these films. Honestly, for this particular series, I wouldn't mind an everlasting series of movies with the main cast until they're like tired of it or too old to be playing those roles, unless they have kids of their own and then they do a cool way of it, do you know what I mean? Just not an animated TV series, because I think that's where it could go downhill, although I think they do have an animated TV series already. I'm not too sure, I might be wrong there. However, I will say it does feel like in completion the goal has been reached, like the end game has been done, and I can't imagine more in that sense, especially sadly with the loss of Cameron Boyce, unless they cast someone else as his character, but I feel like that would be a disservice personally. Then I saw a Netflix original, Bright. I finally saw this. I gave this a 5 stars. I've been wanting to see this for ages, particularly since I heard Bastille playing a song in there. I absolutely love Bastille. I think they're one of my favourite bands, and I was like, okay, Bastille's playing music in this, I need to watch it. But I really needed to be in the mood for it, so I put it off, and then I finally checked it out. I didn't realise it would have such a vast amount of magical characters. I thought this was really fantastic. So just basically we have this cop, like a human cop, and then this like orc cop, and there's a lot of nobody likes the orcs because they're stereotypically like thugs and stuff, and then you learn very early on that the cop that Will Smith plays was shot by another orc, and the orc police officer, Nick, I think his name is, didn't, like, it looked like he basically didn't do anything quick enough, didn't catch the offender, and everybody sort of said it's because he's an orc and he let him go. So that's kind of like the driving tension in this, and it kind of fleshes out and character development ensues and stuff like that. The whole idea of racism in a fantastical world, and the hierarchies and politics between each race is absolutely crazy. The way they've done it, amazingly so, like so well done. Yet it perfectly mirrors what's happening even still amongst humans in this reality, you know what I mean? So the way that they can take something so pivotal, so backbreaking, that it's still a thing, still going on even in today's modern society, and put it in a fantastical world, that it works, that it's aimed at a different culture or race or species as the orcs is just fascinating and very, very hard-hitting, I would say. It kind of leaves no hope if this fantastical LA, I think it's set in, is still dealing with it too. So there goes the future. The only time, honestly, I would happily watch a cop film, which I would describe this to sort of fall into that category, would be due to the fantasy element. But in this, it felt perfectly blended. It was not too much, it felt realistic, especially with the themes, but it also felt very unique unto itself as well. Nick, the orc character, that's the orc police, reminds me for some reason of Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, with the dry attempts at irony and sort of falling short just that little bit with the social cues. The music in this was fantastic, as were the prosthetics, CGI, whatever they used. Acting, phenomenal. Apparently there's going to be a second film out, and I am really looking forward to it. Hopefully I get to that much sooner than I got to the first one. Absolutely loved it, and as I said, that was a 5 stars. Then I watched, not recently, I picked up a couple of like Japanese animation films and such. One of those was Wolf Children, which I have been having my eye on for years, and I finally got myself a copy of the film, and I gave this a 3.5 stars. So we're following Hannah, who falls in love with a wolfman, they call it, basically a werewolf, and has children with him, which is kind of weird because they actually have a sex scene where he is a wolf, like half wolf, and it's kind of a bit weird. A tragedy occurs, causing Hannah and her young children, Yuki and Ame, to move to the countryside where they have the choice to live as people or as wolves, because as the children of the wolfman, they have the ability to switch between the two as well. The story takes an interesting spin, I would say, particularly with the children, almost swapping in opinions and outlooks for life as they grow older, which I wasn't expecting. It was a lovely story. I am feeling a little bit upset with the actions of some of the characters. Again, as usual for a lot of Japanese animation, I find there was a beautiful, stunning display of animation and scenery that looks real, in my opinion. The detail, the attention to detail in the scenery of some of these films are phenomenal. Beautiful depictions of like countrysides and stuff, really nice. Then I went back to the Descendants world, and I watched Under the Sea, a Descendants short story, which sadly I gave a 2 stars. It's only 20 minutes long. It's literally like a short feature film. I think it was to just give you some extra content following an underwater battle between Uma and Mao. I assume it was set just before the third film, sorry. And I guess it was supposed to give you a little bit of hype maybe for it, but it didn't really serve much purpose for me, to be honest, except I expect, as I have already said, to give you like that hype sense for the next film, as they were probably just about to air it. And then carrying on with those short stories, I watched Audrey's Royal Return, a Descendants short story. I didn't give this one a rating, but I'll probably say like 2.5 stars, 3 stars. It's another 20-minute short feature. Pretty much, again, it's a recap of the first 2 movies just to get you prepared for the third film. I wish I realised this, because I probably would have enjoyed these short things more had I seen them before the main event, but I didn't know what they were really. I recorded all of them, anything that was Descendants related, just so I had that content before it disappeared. And I went to the cinema again to see Birds of Prey. This was a 3.5 stars for me. So we are following Harley Quinn. When they were releasing this, I believe I heard that it was completely separate from the Suicide Squad. That obviously we have her introduced, like sort of reintroduced in the, I think, 2016 Suicide Squad film. And people have been hoping for more content from that side of things for a while, but I'm pretty sure this is separate, and they're doing, I don't know if they're still doing, but I heard they were going to do a Suicide Squad 2 film, but this is own standalone sort of thing. This was so much fun, honestly. I love the fourth wall breaking, the music and the epic female cast, especially because they're a lead female. I loved it. It was super badass, despite the times that it felt a little bit like filler-like, but it was great nevertheless. Margot Roberts plays an excellent Harley Quinn. I didn't realise that the Birds of Prey weren't going to be a group until like the very end, but I really liked how it paced out, how they came together, the common goal, all these sort of things. It was just a bit of like action, fun film just to tide you over, give you a little bit more extra Harley Quinn content, which I'm always up for. Then I think this bled into March now, but for some reason I didn't separate it. But I watched a film on Netflix called I Lost My Body. So it's a Netflix presents film based on a French book about a young man who falls in love and a severed hand looking for its owner, which is a bit of a strange concept. It's a animated production. So some sudden violence in this actually shocked me. I wasn't expecting it to be as brutal as some of the scenes were, but I mean, you're following a severed hand, so you're going to expect it to be a little bit morbid. I will say I really loved how certain actions reminded the hand of its body that it was originally attached to, and we got some really great flashback scenes. The whole feel, the whole vibe of it is very melancholy, very sad, and personally I feel like I probably haven't completely grasped it to what its full potential means, but it made me feel things, and that's always a good approach, I'd say. Pros, not the word I was looking for. That's good. I did find a fantastic comment under a video that really made me appreciate it more. This is going to be such a tease if I cannot find the comment, but I'm pretty sure I screenshotted it. I'll just have to search and read it and be like, that's for this. So bear with me if I can't find it. I'm so sorry. And then lastly, I watched Yes Man, which was something I've never seen before. I don't know why. I love Jim Carrey, but I can't believe why I haven't seen this before. I gave this 4 stars. I Lost My Body, I gave it 4 stars as well. I can't remember if I said that. I really enjoyed it. It actually has a really good take-home message as well for life. And yeah, that wraps up this film review. Far shorter, I feel, than usual because I took off the weight of some of those films by doing own reviews, which was nice. Yeah, I think that's it. I also don't think I watched as much as previous months. But yeah, I shall speak to you in another video soon. Don't forget to let me know what films you've been checking out, new releases, backlists, anything. I'd love to know. See you in another video soon. Bye.